momentarily, but we thank you for being here, and we want to honor you and respect your time, so if you can give us another 5 or 10 minutes and then we'll get going. Thank you so much. Are we all ready? Okay. I think everybody okay to get started? Yep. Good afternoon, everyone. I think we have received one more of our commission members. We have one more that's en route, but we're going to go on and get started. July 20th, 2021, and this is the Virginia Redistricting Commission's public hearing for the Hampton Roads region. For those of you following this hearing at home, we are here in Norfolk at Old Dominion University's Webb University Center. And for those of you who have joined us here in person, welcome. We're really happy to have you here. We want to thank each and every one of you for coming and participating in this public hearing. I am Greta Harris, a Citizen Commission member from Richmond, Virginia, and I will be acting as the presiding commissioner at this hearing. I'm going to ask my fellow commissioners to introduce themselves, starting with Mr. Harrell on my right. And please just your name and whether you are a citizen or a legislative member and where you're from, please.
I'm Rick Harrell. I'm from South Boston, Virginia, which is straight out west 58, 150 some miles. And I'm a non-legislative citizen member of the commission.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming. My name is Mamie Locke, and I'm a member of the Senate of Virginia. I represent the 2nd Senate District, which covers the cities of Hampton, Newport News, a part of Portsmouth, and York County.
Good afternoon. My name is Brandon Hutchins. I'm also a citizen member representing Hampton Roads from Virginia Beach. Thank you all for coming.
Good afternoon. My name is Dolores McQuinn. I'm a member of the House General Assembly, and I represent the 70th House District, part of the city of Richmond, part of Eastern Henrico, Charles City, and then Northern Chesterfield. And I'm delighted to be here with you.
Thank you so much. A couple of housekeeping matters before we begin. I will be calling off names from the sign-up sheet, so please forgive me in advance if I mispronounce your name. When you are called, come up to speak. We ask that you first identify yourself and tell us where you live. If you are here with a group or on behalf of a group, please identify the group as well as you come up to the podium here to my right. Given the number of persons who signed up to speak, we're setting out and limiting each person's speaking time to no more than 3 minutes, and we will be keeping track of the time and give you a 30-second warning. So Brandon here is our timekeeper today, and at 2.3 minutes, he'll wave at you, and then at 3 minutes, I'm going to interject and help you close out your comments. If a previous speaker has already stated what you'd like to say, we encourage you to simply state your name and where you live, and that you echo the comments made by whoever that person was. If you're just joining us here in person, you may still sign up to speak. Sign up will be open until 3 p.m. And as a reminder for those of you who registered to give public comment virtually, we will be hearing all of the in-person attendees before we turn to the virtual attendees. And if you would like to submit written comments today, staff does have a form at the registration desk where you can complete that form and leave it with us. The purpose of these initial series of public hearings is to hear from all of you, the citizens of the Commonwealth. This is your time, and we are here in a listening mode. This time is for us to hear from you, to learn from you, and so we will not be taking questions or engaging in any discussion or debate this afternoon. We are most interested in the factors you want this commission to consider when drawing your districts and your thoughts about community and how you would or would not define it. But all comments shared here today will be heard, and consider it when we're back in Richmond and starting our map drawing work, which is less than 30 days away. We're expecting the census data in just a few weeks. So I think those are all of our opening comments, and we're super excited to be here and ready to hear from you. So I'm just going to go down the list that was handed to me. And our first person coming up to the podium is Carrie Buchanan. Thank you so much for being here, Ms. Buchanan. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me fine?
Okay, hold on one second. Let's see. Try it now.
Good afternoon.
Yes, much better.
I'm Carrie Buchanan, a resident of Norfolk. I live in the 100th House District, which includes parts of Norfolk, an unpopulated part of Virginia Beach, and all of the Eastern Shore. Thank you to the citizen commissioners for volunteering to be part of the redistricting process. I would like the commission to know that I took time off from work today to be here. I have not watched any of the regular meetings live because they occur during normal working hours. I request the commission conduct more meetings after normal working hours. Norfolk has approximately 242,000 people, has 5 House districts and 2 senators. The 89th is the only House district that fully resides in Norfolk. The 83rd has 3 voting precincts in Norfolk, and the 90th has 90 people, or 80 people, excuse me, in Virginia Beach. Having districts that are based almost entirely in one city can make voters feel as if they don't have a say. The 83rd, 89th, 90th, and other districts were all redrawn after the Bethune-Hill lawsuit. The special master tried to affect the least number of districts, and the population numbers and precincts in the 83rd and 90th may have been the result. I ask that the commission hire a professional map maker and start from scratch without incumbent addresses and without regard to voting records. My main reason for wanting to talk today was in regards to the 100th House District. As I said earlier, the 100th is comprised of the Eastern Shore, Virginia Beach, and a part of Norfolk. The 2010 census blocks for Virginia Beach did not have any residents in that area, but if they do now, they will be woefully underrepresented if the lines remain the same. The Eastern Shore and the city of Norfolk have very little in common. The Eastern Shore is rural. Its economy is based upon agriculture, seafood production, and tourism. Norfolk is an urban city with a large amount of untaxable land due to the presence of large naval bases. Its economy is based upon maritime industry, transportation, the defense industry, advanced manufacturing, healthcare, and information technology. Our school and healthcare issues are different. Both of the communities have issues of flooding, and the causes, potential solutions, and resiliency planning are very different. The Eastern Shore deserves good representation, but so does the area of Norfolk that I live in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Buchanan. We appreciate your comments today. Our next speaker is Laura Boleyn. Am I saying your last name correctly or no?
It's pronounced Bellin.
Bellin, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bellin.
I had more of a question than I did a statement, so I don't know how I got on the wrong list. But since I'm here, questions. Will you provide updates of your planning and recommendations as they start to formulate, or will you just give a final report? I think that meeting with the citizens in the interim would be a good suggestion, because sometimes when things are formulated and there's no input in between, there may be things that we're not considering that you're thinking about that we don't know about. So I suggest that. And also like to know what your process is. You must have some roadmap of how, when, and what things you're going to consider, and I'd like to know what those might be. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And while we aren't engaging with an exchange, I will say that we are having 8 public hearings now before the census data arrives, the latter part of August. And then as we do our map drawing, we will come back out towards the end. I can't remember the date, sometime in September, maybe late September, to do 8 additional public hearings so people can give comments on the proposed maps. So we'll be able to have that. And I would say if you go onto the redistricting website, Virginia Redistricting, the state statute is there, and it clearly lists out all of the criteria that we have to consider when drawing maps, and there are several that we have to use, including citizen input to help influence how the maps are drawn, specifically around communities of interest. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Bellin. No? No. Okay, all right. Well, we have you on the list, but we welcome you here anyhow to listen. Let's see. How about Stephanie Duell? Duell? Okay, welcome. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Duell. I'm with the Libertarian Party of Hampton Roads. I'm here on behalf of Charles West for delegate, who's not able to be here today because of work obligations. And as sure as many people in Hampton Roads probably can't be here for the same reason. Okay, so my name is Charles West. I am a carpenter and a lifelong resident of Hampton Roads. I live in Poquoson during the last redistricting and currently live in Buckrow. When the map was last redrawn, it is arguable that the 91st district in which I reside was drawn as much for political reasons as for reasons of representation. This is evidenced by the ensuing disagreement in Richmond and the 2019 election. These borders should not be drawn for political reasons, disregarding neighbors and cultures. The 91st district of recent years is a split district, affording the people an opportunity for moderate representation at the state level. However, this large and disjointed district really robs the people of both communities of the locally focused representation they deserve, not to mention making a ballot access for truly independent candidates much more challenging than it should be. Going forward, I, along with many of my friends and neighbors, respectfully request the board does not lose the goal of effective representation in exchange for convenient politics. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Duell. We appreciate your comments. And we want to also welcome another colleague and member of the commission, and I would ask that Delegate Simon introduce himself and say whether you are a citizen or legislative member of the commission and where you represent.
Got it. All right. So I'm Delegate Marcus Simon. I represent the 53rd House of Delegates District, which is got the city of Falls Church and much of Fairfax, parts of Fairfax County. I am a legislative member as a delegate, and I'm happy to be here. Sorry I'm a little bit late. The neither tunnel was a good option this morning. So.
We feel your pain, but we're so happy that you're here. Okay, moving on, we would like to welcome Carolyn Kaywood to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I am Carolyn Kaywood, a resident of Virginia Beach. First, you commission members have my sympathy in that the census delay has made the time commitment not what anyone expected when we all applied. I did apply too. I really honor your dedication to the task. I'm also delighted with these meetings and the ones I've watched online and with the many different ways that citizens can be involved. The Virginians who voted for the redistricting amendment want a fresh start, not tweaks to old maps. Even though incumbent addresses were loaded into the CityGate software, neither they nor old district lines should be considered in drawing maps. My community of interest is the city of Virginia Beach, where I've lived and worked for 42 years. The city as a whole must plan for rising sea level, more frequent storms and heavier rainfall, as well as higher temperatures. Thus, I urge respect for jurisdictional boundaries insofar as is possible. I feel strongly that the Commission needs to hire a redistricting professional to draw the maps, and that the maps should be drawn without regard to existing districts, especially since many of the 2010 districts in Hampton Roads were already redrawn by court order. My own congressional, Senate, and House of Delegate districts have been redrawn within the last decade. I believe the Commission also needs to hire a professional to create the portal for public input on the website and to engage the public's interest in opportunities for input. Content, and especially public input, need to be organized and readily findable. I suggest the Commission schedule a statewide virtual hearing for those organizations and individuals who have state-level input to offer. And please, hereafter, schedule hearings when working people can attend. Thank you for taking these points into consideration.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And we do hear, I think our hearings are at different times in the mornings, in the afternoons, and during the working hours as well. So trying to accommodate lots of different people here. But we appreciate those comments. Our next speaker is Grant Deppen. Is it close enough? No, I did? Okay. You're making me feel good. All right. Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Grant Deppen. I am a resident here in Norfolk. And in addition to echoing a lot of the comments that we heard earlier, I'm reminded of the concepts of transparency and governance. As a PhD student in public administration and policy here at ODU, it's very important for me that the processes of governance are straightforward and clear to the people. And that goes back to 1787. I'm reminded of Benjamin Franklin being asked, is it a monarchy or is it a republic? And responding, it's a republic if you can keep it. And that is a task that you all have in your hands right now. And throughout our history, the irony of that statement is it was said to a woman named Elizabeth Powell, who at that very moment in time could not participate in the democracy that Benjamin Franklin had just created. And so I ask that each of you keep that in consideration as you are drawing the map to allow the playing field to be level to every citizen here in Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deppen. Our next speaker is Melanie Cornelise.
Yep.
I would have not gotten that. Thank you so much for helping me out.
Sure. Can you open that? Good afternoon. I'm Melanie Cornelise. This is my son Riley here, one of my favorite citizens. We are all privileged to be here today and hope that the next hearing can happen when more of our working citizens can attend and speak. As I said, I'm Melanie Cornelise, and I'm running for House District 78. I've been a resident of Chesapeake and District 78 since 2015. My opponent hasn't seen opposition since 2013. Why no political opposition in 8 years? I suggest that it's due in part to the current district lines that create a district which is far more white and homogeneous than the remainder of Chesapeake City, as well as Chesapeake City as a whole. Furthermore, the remainder of the city of Chesapeake, with a much greater number of black citizens, has been parceled out among 5 other legislative House districts. This leaves District 81 with its wild U-shaped form being the most egregiously gerrymandered to include portions of Virginia Beach, South Chesapeake, Pungo, which if you don't know is very rural, and parts of Suffolk. Let's start with District 78, a district that is entirely in the city of Chesapeake, but sweeps up the widest part of Chesapeake. As I explained, the rest of the city of Chesapeake is split up into 5 other legislative districts. The city of Chesapeake population is about 247,000 people, and the racial makeup of the city, and at the last point it was documented, was about 62.6% white and almost 30% black or African American. 4.4% of the population were Hispanics or Latinos of any race. But in my district, District 78, entirely within the city of Chesapeake, takes a chunk out of the city of Chesapeake City that is 75.5% white and only 17.2% black. This is one of the problems with the district lines in Chesapeake. The other has more to do with all the rest of Chesapeake City, the black neighborhoods, where all the other parts of the city that are not included in District 78 are carved into tiny pieces to fit into 5 other legislative districts. As we know, racial gerrymandering of this sort was an attempt to restrict the voting rights of our black citizens. We hope that the Commission to Redistrict Virginia will make amends so that we all have something closer to an equal vote. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you for the visual aids, too. Your son did a great job. And then we appreciate both of you being here today. Our next speaker is Judith Brown. Welcome this afternoon.
My name is Judith Brown, and I live in Norfolk. I'm speaking today for the League of Women Voters of Southampton Roads. Our president, Heather Miller Tokars, had hoped to address you herself, but she can't. She works full-time. Our local League of Women Voters covers the 5 cities in the southeast corner of Virginia. 3 of our cities are huge in area: Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, and Suffolk. Each of those has large suburbs and also large rural areas which are sparsely settled and still under cultivation. Our 2 oldest cities are Portsmouth and Norfolk. They are relatively small in area and densely populated. Both have modern seaports with large military bases. Let's focus now on the city of Portsmouth, which had 96,000 people in the 2010 census. Currently, Portsmouth has one map that's very clear, the map for its U.S. House of Representatives. All of Portsmouth is represented by one single person in Congress. Currently, that's Representative Bobby Scott. On Portsmouth's other 2 legislative maps, however, the city is oddly chopped up and confusing. In the Virginia General Assembly, Portsmouth is represented by 2 delegates, currently Delegate Steve Heretic and Delegate Don Scott. Portsmouth is represented by 3 senators, currently Senators John Cosgrove, Senator Mamie Locke, and Senator Louise Lucas. These maps do not make sense to the citizens of Portsmouth. The other 4 cities of Hampton Roads, Southampton Roads, I assure you, are also split up and confusing. Even members of our League of Women Voters struggle constantly with the current legislative maps. To find and engage with the right legislators is baffling and difficult. We beg you to make this easier for all of us and for yourselves. We have 5 requests. Please remove from your documents the home addresses of incumbents. Those addresses should be irrelevant to everyone involved in this process. 2, please make our new districts as compact as possible. This will not be simple, so please engage qualified redistricting professionals to draft new maps for your commission's work. That's our number 3. Number 4, instruct your professionals to start from scratch without considering the confusing maps that we have now and that we've tried to describe to you. And 5, ask your professionals to conform the maps to city and county boundaries as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate your feedback. Our next speaker is Ophelia Watley. Is that right?
Correct.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Ophelia Watley. I live in the city of Norfolk. I agree with everything I have heard presented so far, so I will be brief. I enjoy, as well as so many others, finely prepared dishes, picadillos, they are called in Hispanic communities. One of the features that makes these particular dishes so rich is finely chopping ingredients. That may be wonderful for enhancing flavor and presentation in dishes, but not so much for cities. With that, our 5 cities are all chopped very finely. Unfortunately, too minutely for my liking. It turns out to be confusing when we're looking at districts and what should belong together, who should vote as a block. It keeps citizens from voting confidently. Instead, too many questions arise that interfere with achieving the intent of the use of our vote. It is difficult to know, follow, and communicate with the right legislators. Electronic access is helpful, but unfortunately there too, there is not always equal access. The commission, I encourage, to engage qualified, nonpartisan professionals to draw the new maps. Make districts as compact and representative as possible. This should go without saying, but I will share nevertheless. I appeal to all to prioritize serving the public, the citizenry, the voters, in good faith and in goodwill. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Watley. Next, Mr. Richard Brown. Thank you, sir.
My name is Richard Brown. I live in Norfolk. I'm a retired medical doctor, and I'm honored and overjoyed to say that Madam Kaywood and the cook here who presented us with chopped cities has spoken so well that I don't think I have a word to say. They've said it all.
Well, thank you, Dr. Brown, and all of the comments are very helpful to us, very much. Janet Ross, thank you.
Hello, it's nice to be here today. My name is Janet Ross, and I'm a citizen of James City County, and I've been there since 1986. So what I'm asking you today is to try to keep James City County together, that we wouldn't be divided in some of your different maps in the different districts, and also to keep us together with Williamsburg. I don't know if you know, you probably already do, but Williamsburg and James City County, we have a joint library, a joint schools program, our police department, it's also joint. So there's so much overlap between our county and the city. I mean, it's almost like we're already together. So I would hope that you would keep us together. And looking at some of the current maps, looking at the state Senate districts in District 1 and District 3. In District 1, you have part of James City County and all of Williamsburg. And then in District 3, you have most of James City County. And in the District 1, it's mainly Newport News, whereas District 3, the district goes all the way up to north of Richmond and down to Suffolk, and it also has part of York County. I also think of York County as being our sister county, too. And then if we switch over to the U.S. Congress districts, in the first district, there's Fredericksburg, James City County, York County, Stafford, part of Stafford County, and down to Suffolk. So you can see it's a very strange, large, drawn-out district. And then the second district, you have all of Williamsburg together with Eastern Shore and Virginia Beach, York County, part of Norfolk Hampton. So again, it's really kind of screwy. So I'm asking you, when you plan your maps and you're doing your work, and we are very happy that you're doing this work, and I don't know of anything more important for us to have fair elections and fair districts. So we really appreciate your work. So I guess that's all. I want to thank you for letting me speak today, and good luck in your adventure in fair districts.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your comments. And I believe our last in-person speaker is Herb, well, maybe a couple more, sorry. Mr. Herb DeGroft. Thank you, welcome.
Members of the Redistricting Commission, thank you for doing this. It gives us a chance to continue to exercise our First Amendment right. I come from Smithfield, that gem on the south side. And those of you from around here know what I mean when I say the south side. Isle of Wight County is a county of about 38,000 residents. It is a largely rural county of about 330 square miles. It has a commonality of interest with other jurisdictions on the south side. The UC professor that they chose the last time they redistricted decided to take us out of our community of interest and put us together with the folks on the north side. No offense to you, Senator Locke. But the folks in Hampton and Newport News, they aren't even called the north side. Well, we are called the south side. So we are distinguished in being what used to be Isle of Wight County, Franklin, and Southampton County. That's the federal jurisdiction. I can remember years ago, Paul Council, who served in the General Assembly for several decades and was a Catalina pilot in World War II, told me before he was getting ready to retire, he said, you know, this job used to be fun because we came up here and acted as Virginians. Now we act as partisan politicians, and it isn't fun anymore. And that is one of the primary things I would say to y'all. Redistrict logically, with common sense, and maintain contiguous local government jurisdictions to the maximum possible. As I said, it used to be Isle of Wight, Franklin, and Southampton made up a district. Senator Holland, God rest both those gentlemen's soul, he and Delegate Council have gone to the happy hunting ground. They both acted as Virginians first, I think, and Virginia did really well. Likewise, I have made that same recommendation to my federal representatives: act as Americans first, and Virginia will do well by you. In any case, I think when they pulled us out of the 4th district and put us in the 3rd, they violated that community of interest principle that this is supposed to go by. And I would mention this to you. Titus Livius lived from 59 BC to 1780, and he was a Roman historian. Envy as a motive can be very destructive, he noted. True moderation in the defense of political liberties is indeed as difficult a thing. Pretending to maintain fair shares for all, every man raises himself by depressing his neighbors or our anxiety to avoid oppression leads us to practice it ourselves. The injustice we repel, we visit in turn upon others as if there were no choice except either to do it or suffer it. And lastly, I would leave with what George Washington said very plainly when he said, the country might be destroyed by the baneful effects of the spirit of party, as he viewed them, that is, political parties, as, quote, a threat to both national unity and the concept of popular government. Party functions, as we see today in this politically partisan climate, would and will split our nation apart, and we're bringing Nikita Khrushchev's words to fruition because we are trying to bury ourselves from within. You know, when they say you're in a hole, stop shoveling. Well, I'm just asking you all to act with common sense, try to keep contiguous government bodies together as much as possible, and I realize the one man, one vote role plays a role in this, plus or minus 5%, because my friend and I have been through redistricting in Alawite County locally twice, and it's a very interesting process, and I commend you all for taking on this challenge, and I challenge you to study it intrinsically because it's one of the most important things you will ever do in your life as far as the citizens of Virginia are concerned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. DeCroft, especially for the history lesson. I'll be happy to take it and share it. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Okay. And I believe we have one additional person, Vicki Williams. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm Vicki Williams. I am from Hampton, Virginia, and I am here speaking on behalf of the National Delta Sigma Theta Redistricting Cohort. I'm the vice chair for the state of Virginia. And what I am asking of that y'all do, especially when it speaks to my city, where my senator sits here, is to be mindful that we are broken up in many districts. And what that does is it dilutes the voices of minorities, especially the people who live in Hampton. It's quite a bit of us who are African American, and we want to make sure that our voices are heard, and the way they can be heard is if we are represented by people who know what goes on in the city of Hampton. You have too many people with too many fingers in the pot. I need folks to take their fingers out and focus on our city. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Sora. Appreciate your comments. Okay. This is great. We're in the 21st century here, so we're using technology, and we have, I believe, 3 virtual registrants who are going to be speaking, and I guess we'll just hear them over the speakers. Is that right, amigo? Okay. All right. So if we're ready, our first speaker virtually is Monica Sarmiento. Do we know if she's coming on? Okay. So there are some technical difficulties sometimes, but okay, she's coming. Hold on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Sarmiento. Welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you.
Can she hear us?
Yes, we can.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so this is actually Erin Corbett with the Virginia Civic Engagement Table. Monica very graciously gave me a receipt to speak today, and don't want to take up too much time. I know I've taken up a lot of folks' time in these many hearings, but did just want to bring back up the conversation of accepting maps from the public. This is something that our coalition, the Virginia Council Coalition, feels extremely strongly about, and so we simply ask that the commission be ready and willing to accept maps from our organizations and from the public. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm looking at Mr. Wade in the back. I believe our website will allow for people to submit maps. Is that right? Okay, yes, okay. And so I would just encourage people to go to the Virginia Redistricting website and navigate across that to be able to figure out how to upload your maps, and we would welcome that assistance, okay? The next virtual speaker is Richard Zimmerman. Okay, just give it a moment. Mr. Zimmerman? Mr. Zimmerman, if you could unmute yourself. There we go. We can hear you.
and that SMSA connects west by US 221 to the Roanoke SMA hub. It could then trace back east into the south side along the Roanoke River to South Boston and Charleston. A 6th congressional district can lie along I-64 as it shares a roadbed with I-81 in the valley. I-64 connects the Charlottesville SMA with the Stanton Micro SMA, then Lexington west to Covington, all on I-64.
Mr. Zimmerman, can you wrap up your comments, please?
From nearby Fort Belvoir south to Fredericksburg, taking in Prince William County, Manassas, and Manassas Park. The Fighting Ninth can include, in your earlier panel here in Blacksburg, Bradford, and Christiansburg, south of Bristol, and then east of Danville along the southerly flowing. Oh, okay. And then the 8th would be inside the Beltway, the 10th outside, and include about 20% of Loudon, and then the 11th, the rest of Loudon going west, and then up the Shenandoah River to Harrisonburg. Thanks.
And I would say thank you very much, and if you have specific suggestions, as was just shared, please load them up onto the website. We are going onto the website and looking at that information. We also now will call on, is this person here, Amiga? They're here? Okay, all right, okay. We have one more virtual, no, but we have one more virtual person to speak, which is going to challenge me a bit. Mr. Mark Gaduldig-Yatrowski, and I'm sure I slaughtered that, but Mark, nothing personal. Please come on and share your comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair, honorable commissioners. I am Mark Gaduldig-Yatrowski, and I usually reside in the city of Portsmouth. I have taken time off from my family vacation to be part of these proceedings because I believe they're vitally important to the health of our republic. I agree with all previous speakers who have mentioned the 3 C's, that districts should be congruent, compact, and reflect, respect communities of interest. But the one thing that I've not heard from any previous speaker that I consider vitally important is that we look beyond red and blue in terms of redistricting considerations, because although independent voters and people with no particular party affiliation may not constitute a majority, I believe that we constitute a significant and often decisive segment of the voting population. And as a person who is more interested in the content of people's character, particularly those seeking to represent me in elected office, and their policy positions, than what label they affix to themselves for the sake of seeking office. I believe it's very important that we have competitive districts, that there be no bias in terms of providing an advantage of either one party or another, particularly when you are trying to preserve the seat of an incumbent. The seats form for the people as a whole. We allow others to occupy them, to to speak for us, to make decisions for us, but not without regard to what our wishes are. And often party considerations drive decisions that are not in the best interest of the people represented. So I want there to be complete impartiality in terms of the districts as humanly and artificially intelligently possible. I believe that ideally a good algorithm would have been put in place long ago, and computers would have been allowed to draw the districts with only technical oversight from people. I thank you for the opportunity to express myself in this way.
Mark, thank you so very much for your comments. We appreciate that.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Dennis, I mean, I understand from some folks that are trying to watch on the stream that they aren't able to hear the virtual testimony. It's just a blank noise, but I just want to reassure everybody that we on the commission are able to hear them loud and clear here in the room, and I'm sure that we'll be able to figure out a way to paste the sound into whatever goes out on the
website. Okay, thank you so much. And I think we have a Twitter account, and so people are giving us direct feedback. So each time we do a hearing, we're trying to get better at it, so we appreciate that. We have an additional person who signed up, Diana Howard, who's here. Thank you so much. Okay, and we have about 5 more minutes if anyone wants to sign up until 3 o'clock to share your thoughts and concerns.
Please
Welcome.
sign up.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Diana Howard, and I agree with Mark, who just spoke. We voted for this commission so that we, the citizens, can pick our legislators instead of our legislators gerrymandering districts so that they can pick the voters they want, right? So it should be picked congruently, right, by neighborhoods, but not looking at R's and D's and nationalities, race, gender, or anything like that. And just want to show you an example of, gerrymandering a district. This is my district for the House of Delegates. This is the 81st district. Is this not ridiculous? There are 3 districts in between here. The 84th, the 21st, and the 78th in this area right here. There's a little arrow here to show you where I live, and it's very hard to see right over there. So I blew it up. Okay? I blew it up. I live right there. And as you can see, my HOA is over here. And all my neighbors across the street from me and down in my HOA are in another district. So I hope that you all don't agree that this is congruent. This is not the way a district should look. And I just want you all to do better than this. I can leave this here with you if you would like.
That would be great.
Okay.
That really drives home the point.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes, I would just want to tell Ms. Diane, Ms.
Howard.
Diane, when we get rid of the first picture that you showed, then we lose the young lady that was sitting in the chair.
The young lady that was sitting in the chair. Oh, that's right.
It looks like a person sitting in the chair on one side of her. Just a little.
Yes, and my HOA is Ocean Lakes, right? And so it was just really funny. I had this lady that was coming around. She was trying to challenge the delegate. She was trying to get signatures, right? And so she was going all around my neighborhood, not knowing how jury-rigged that neighborhood was, until she turned in the person's petition to get on the ballot and everything, and found out half of them weren't even in that district. She didn't know that district looked like that. Thanks.
Yep, thank you so much. And I'm looking in the back of the room. Any more persons signed up? Okay. Well, we just want to thank each and every one of you virtually, and for those of you in person who came to share your thoughts, your ideas, and your love for this country and our democracy. And we are, I think, with each passing week that we serve on this commission, I think we're starting to feel the weight of the responsibility that has been given to each of us in trying to draw new lines to preserve and lift up our democracy. So we appreciate your comments. We ask for your prayers and best wishes as we get ready to start this important work. And we encourage you to join us at other public hearings around the Commonwealth. And we will be back in a few weeks after we have our first attempt at drawing maps to get feedback and comment from that. So thank you guys so much. Enjoy this spectacular weather here in Hampton Roads. Thank you. Have a good day.